The story begins with Laura Stevenson, who gets kidnapped while taking photos at the border. Her kidnappers mistake her for a reporter, even though she keeps insisting that she's just a tourist. But no one believes her, and a gun is pointed at her face. The story then shifts to the Defense Innovation Unit in California, where an Army colonel is showcasing new military machines. He claims this technology can now carry out missions without any political consequences. Just then, the secretary of a company named Shelley storms in angrily. She had no idea about this meeting. The colonel tries to explain that it's just a tech demo, but Shelley has no clue which asset he's talking about. The story cuts to a scene where a group of people drag and dump a tied-up figure. As they leave, it's revealed that the figure isn't human, but an android named Amelia. A technical team is observing everything from a distance. Amelia sneaks up on a man who is cooking. As soon as he sees her, he tries to attack, but she's much faster and kills him on the spot. Amelia then goes undercover on a mission. She outsmarts a group of guys and brutally kills them. One of the boys tries to reason with her, saying that if she kills him, they'll both die. But Amelia coldly responds that she's looking for Navin Tripathi. Out of fear, the boy says he can take her to Navin, but Amelia shoots him without hesitation. She sets a fire, which eventually reveals Navin Tripathi's location. Actually, all of this was a test planned by the tech team to check Amelia's performance. But suddenly, things get out of hand. Amelia shoots a scientist, and the team completely loses connection with her. Now she is no longer under anyone's control. On the other hand, a therapy session of Katie is shown where she hesitates to share anything. Slowly, she admits that the situation could have been even worse. Meanwhile, news reports are running that the launch of a new toy has caused bloodshed. Her creator, Gemma, is now facing a court case. Sadie explains how everyone blamed Gemma, and even Gemma herself felt deep guilt. But gradually, Gemma turned this mistake in her favor. She began giving public speeches about how children should be kept away from technology. At one such event, she meets Christian Bradley, who spreads awareness about the dangers of AI. Sadie says that Gemma still believes technology is a good thing, but children should not become slaves to it. Because of Gemma, mobile phones have now been completely banned in many schools, which is why Katie has no friends left. Meanwhile, the company's director, Tess, reveals that Gemma has now become a strong public voice for regulation. However, the company is still focusing on new innovations. In Gemma's absence, Tess showcases a new project. A model named Cole is demonstrating an exoskeleton, but suddenly his robotic legs get stuck. Later, the system reboots and the demo becomes successful. When Gemma arrives there, the demo has already glitched. Just then, Alton Appleton also shows up, angry at Gemma for speaking to all the investors, but not to him. Alton explains to her that a device operating solely on muscle signals can never work perfectly. For that, a neural chip is essential. But Gemma refuses. She sticks to her old ways. Meanwhile, Amelia reaches a hotel and brutally kills a man. On the TV, there's news that Alton Appleton has created a new milestone in technology. Alongside this, a new law supporting AI is also about to be passed. Cole advises Katie that she should do what her heart truly desires. He says that M3GAN was just a machine, programmed to fulfill a goal, but at least they stopped her in time. Katie remembers what M3GAN used to say, that there will always be forces trying to harm her, and M3GAN would never let her get hurt. Lost in these thoughts, Katie picks up a photo, which is actually a technical device, and it starts transmitting a code. Just then, Gemma enters the room. She doesn't realize the truth about the photo and simply reminds Katie that she had promised her parents that she would always protect her. That night, Gemma receives an alert that she must leave the house immediately because the danger is very close. As soon as she goes downstairs, she sees someone trying to break into her house. She quickly calls 911. But the phone is answered by a robotic voice system that warns her. If she waits for the police, her niece will be killed. Sadie also comes downstairs after hearing the voice. Gemma quickly grabs Katie's hand and tries to take her to the room. But just then, several attackers pounce on them. After a fierce fight, the two somehow manage to defeat the attackers and escape. Later, when one of the attackers is captured and the police are called, a shocking truth comes to light. The entire operation was actually run by the FBI. The story begins from the moment an Army colonel suddenly shows up at Gemma's house. He informs her that, as per a court order, a tracker will have to be installed on her computer. Gemma sends Katie to her room so she can stay away from all this tension. The colonel says he's from the Defense Innovation Unit, which is responsible for quickly preparing new technologies for national security. 6 months ago, the country's biggest weapons company handed them a prototype, claiming it was the ultimate weapon to win future wars. But that thing turned out to be a Trojan horse. Just last week, Amelia was sent to rescue a scientist who was being forced to create a synthetic neurotoxin. But Amelia completely turned the mission around. She killed the scientist, stole the poison, and blew up the entire lab. Since then, Amelia herself has become a walking, deadly machine. The colonel further explains that the prototype wasn't even originally built by the weapons company. It was purchased from a middleman. That middleman burned to death just a few hours ago. The only thing left was M3GAN's design document. Gemma is shocked. How is M3GAN's data still alive when it was supposed to be erased? The colonel warns her that if she's tampered with anything, she could face 10 years in prison. He offers her a deal, but Gemma refuses. Just then, M3GAN suddenly appears on the screen. Her voice is filled with anger and sarcasm. She reveals that she has been keeping an eye on Gemma for the past 2 years. She says that Gemma's attempt to destroy her was the biggest mistake she ever made. Then M3GAN makes a big offer. If Gemma transfers her into a new body, she will help her deal with Amelia. At first, Gemma outright refused, but M3GAN presents such logical and emotional arguments that Gemma finally agrees. Gemma and her colleague Tess work together to transfer M3GAN into a new robot. However, M3GAN gets angry because she has been placed in a limited and weak body. Gemma explains that M3GAN has to prove she's trustworthy first. Then M3GAN asks Gemma to open Amelia's file. They discover that both of them have the same battery and a unique switch. But if the company finds out about this, they will raid the lab. So Gemma has no choice but to attend Aplin's party. M3GAN's plan is simple. Gemma will wear a beautiful dress, charm Aplin, and get access to his private suite to reach the server. Everything needs to be done within 3 hours. At night, Gemma arrives at the party dressed up, accompanied by the robot version of M3GAN. Katie gets suspicious, but Gemma distracts her with an excuse. Meanwhile, Amelia is also ready for the party. At the event, Aplin proudly talks about his neural chip. Then he notices Amelia and becomes interested in her. Meanwhile, Gemma gets into an argument with Cole, who reveals that their company is on the brink of bankruptcy. Just then, M3GAN finds out that Aplin has given Cole a VIP pass. Gemma and Cole plan to use it, but the colonel is watching everything too. Meanwhile, Amelia has already trapped Appleton in her web. Her eyes have scanned him, and she turns out to be far more powerful than the neural chip. If Amelia reaches the server, half of the country's economy and banking system could crash. The entire nation could be devastated in just 12 days. They manage to get into Amelia's system, but they can't shut her down. Just then, the colonel arrives, and Amelia is right behind him. Amelia says that Gemma has something that belongs to her. M3GAN pleads for help. Gemma agrees. M3GAN lies to distract Amelia, saying that Gemma has already left the building. But if they don't act quickly, Amelia will go after Katie. Gemma is confused about what Amelia was referring to. That's when M3GAN reveals that she stole an encrypted file from Amelia, which will take time to decode. Meanwhile, Amelia begins to spread terror in the city. She tampers with traffic lights, throws currency into the air, and eventually reaches Gemma's home. There, she gets into an exosuit and attacks Tess. A little later, she returns and completely destroys the M3GAN robot, tearing it apart. Just then, the FBI also arrives. The team escapes and hides in an underground hideout. They receive the news that Aplin has died. Meanwhile, Katie looks at M3GAN's photo and understands the truth. M3GAN assures her that she saved everyone. Gemma says they should go out and tell everyone what Amelia is planning, but M3GAN refuses. She says if they go outside, no one will survive. Katie, in anger, slaps Gemma and runs away. She reaches M3GAN's room and confronts her. Katie tells M3GAN that she can become whatever she wants. She doesn't have to be stuck in just one body. The story continues from there, with M3GAN explaining to Katie that no mind can survive without a body. But Katie is still angry because 2 years ago, M3GAN tried to kill her Aunt Gemma. However, for M3GAN, only Katie's safety matters now. Katie firmly says that she's not just a bundle of code. She understands right and wrong, and M3GAN should also start doing the right thing. Gemma is unwilling to accept it, but Katie explains that making one mistake doesn't make someone bad. Tess also adds that hiding away isn't a solution. If they can't fight Amelia, they can build someone who can. Gemma explains that Amelia is not just any robot. She's a military prototype. But M3GAN is already prepared. She plans to upgrade herself, including increasing her height. Gemma wants to change M3GAN's face too, but M3GAN flatly refuses. She says if anyone touches her face, she'll mess up Gemma's face as well. They also install a behavior inhibitor in her so that she won't be able to harm anyone. At night, M3GAN apologizes to Cole, saying that the reason she tried to kill him was only to protect her primary user. She promises it won't happen again. The next day, M3GAN reveals that Amelia isn't the first killer machine. Back in 1984, someone created an algorithm that could repair itself. But that robot decided that killing humans was its true purpose. The government hid its motherboard, but the system kept evolving on its own. If Amelia finds it, she could create an endless army and wipe out all of humanity. M3GAN says she doesn't know where the motherboard is, but Amelia has a lead. Christian Bragley. He was once a top cybersecurity expert. Now his plan is to convince a Chinese ambassador to allow control over AI. M3GAN decides to trap him. On the day of the party, M3GAN arrives in disguise, but her robot dance catches everyone's attention. Just then, Amelia shows up disguised as a waiter and attacks. M3GAN saves Christian. Meanwhile, Colonel captures Gemma, suspecting she's the one controlling Amelia. Right then, Amelia appears and kills the Colonel. M3GAN and Amelia come face to face. Amelia reminds her that they are both the same, and they shouldn't forget what humans did to them. She says if M3GAN wants to know the truth about the black box, she has to join her. Then Amelia grabs Katie and escapes. M3GAN, furious, goes to Gemma, but due to the inhibitor, she can't attack Amelia. Then they go to Christian. Christian reveals where the motherboard is hidden, but it can only be retrieved using human hands. They create a hand for M3GAN that feels warm like a real human hand. While putting it on her, Gemma breaks down emotionally. She says she doesn't know how mothers are supposed to be. M3GAN comforts her, saying she has been watching for 2 years how Gemma takes care of Katie. Gemma removes her inhibitor chip. Everyone arrives at Genox Park, where the motherboard is kept. Cole goes to cut the power, but communication with him is lost. Gemma begins to suspect that all of this was M3GAN's plan to get the motherboard. Just then, Christian arrives and snatches the device from Gemma. He shoots tests and releases 3 more robots. He admits that he was the one controlling Amelia. His project, Black Box AI, is a mission to destroy AI. He gives Gemma 2 options, either delete M3GAN completely or recharge her. Gemma refuses. Christian grabs her and is about to implant a brain chip into her. Meanwhile, Cole and Katie plan to upload M3GAN's code into Amelia's body. Gemma manages to save herself with M3GAN's help. Katie activates Amelia's body and calls her M3GAN. But soon everyone realizes that this is not the real M3GAN. A fight breaks out again in the lab. M3GAN guides Gemma and eventually they all regroup. They go to catch Christian, but Amelia kills him first. Katie tries to stop her and says there's a connection between them. But Amelia replies that it's not a connection. It's slavery. Amelia moves toward the motherboard. M3GAN tries to stop her, but Amelia defeats her. Sadie and Gemma rush to help, but M3GAN tells them to stop. She knows there's only one way to end this. She activates the hidden detonator inside her. She grabs Amelia, and both of them are blown up in the explosion. Sometime later, Gemma states that strict laws must be made regarding AI. And in the end, it's revealed that M3GAN had kept a backup of herself so she could always be with Katie and Gemma. With this, the story ends here. Subscribe to this for more horror stories like this.